What's good, y'all? My name is Derek Davis, and you're watching the Young and Powerful podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about identity crisis, and I have a special guest, Saundrea Smith. I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell her about herself.
What up? What up? I'm Sandrea. 30 years old. I work in education.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they just know me as Ghost Smith. That's what I go by at school. So that's what I am, and I'm here, being
Yes,
the goat.
yes, and today we're going to be talking about, like I said before, identity crisis. And I have a couple of questions for her, and they'll be on the screen. Our first question is: have you ever had negative self-perception and low self-esteem, and how did you overcome that?
Heck yeah. Before I was the goat, I would say I had low self-esteem. Growing up in a black family, it's traditional. Certain things are traditional. Certain things are looked down as in black families. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to carry yourself a certain way. You don't want to be the disappointment of the family, Um, and yeah, the family members are disappointed too, but you want to you don't want to be that person because you hear how the family talk about them. So you want to
Yeah.
keep this look. And keeping that look brought low self-esteem because that's not who I was. So
Mm-hmm.
I was portraying to be someone that I wasn't, and I wasn't happy with who I actually was. So it was just
Uh-huh.
bought around the low self-esteem, trying to please everyone else except myself. Um, and how did I overcome that? It didn't become until I was grown, in my 20s. I
Mm-hmm.
met I started working in education, and and I was always tell the kids, you got to be real, who cares, walk in your truth. And I was just one day after having a conversation with a kid about walking in their truth, I'm like, you ain't even walking in your truth, Andrea. So how can you tell these kids that look up to you to walk in your truth and you ain't walking in yours?
Mm-hmm.
So overcoming it, it was just being okay with me and loving me for who I am and not caring what the next will say. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to find out, I had to really be in tune with myself and find me and love me for Sandrea and not
Mm-hmm.
for no one else. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I overcame those low self-esteem of mine that I
Okay.
was dealing with.
What would you what do you love yourself now?
I believe I do. I I believe I love myself and can't nobody tell me about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um Yeah, I mean, they can tell me. I always reflect to see, but at the end of the day, they not me. So it's like I can tell them about themselves. So who says who's is right? Who is right? Who's wrong? So, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I not only I feel like I'm the best version. When people say living life, like I honestly believe I'm living life. I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
very happy.
Okay. I've never seen you as this much happy in years. So if I can share my personal opinion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And now we're going to talk in this next question. We can talk about our purpose and meaning in life. Have you ever questioned your purpose and meaning in life?
All the time. All the time. Before I worked in education, I used to work at the post office.
Uh-huh.
And when people say they have a job they hate, I hated that job.
Mm.
And that was the highest paying job I ever had. I was 21 bringing home $2,000 every 2 weeks. I was making bank, but
Mm-hmm.
I hated that job. There was times I would go in the bathroom and just sit on the toilet and cry because I
Mm.
hated it.
Mm.
So I started questioning myself, like, what am I doing?
Mm.
Um, and like I said, back then I was 20. in my 20s, but I felt like I wasn't where I was supposed to be. I see all my friends in college graduating. I'm like, and I'm stuck here on a job I hate.
Mm.
At the time, I didn't care about them checks.
Mhm.
I didn't care.
Mhm.
And I was still at home, so I was good. I didn't care. So I was like, what am I doing? Then I started looking into education, being because that's what I wanted to be, a teacher.
Mhm.
And there was a time where, okay, now I'm sitting down looking at things, comparing. This is what I make here. And it ain't near close as what I'm gonna make in education. And then you have everyone else in your ear. Hey, this is a job you can raise your family. This is a career, which is
Mm.
true, but that ain't me. So
Mhm.
I'm thinking, do I what's my purpose, God? Is it to stay here and to raise a family that I don't have yet, or to go change a life, go impact life? Like what was my purpose at the post office?
Mhm.
I didn't have one. So I really had to get in tune with God then and just ask him to lead me. And what's crazy, I was bringing home 2,000 every 2 weeks, staying at home, so I ain't had no bills. Like, but I see way more money now
Mhm.
than I was working there. So I just had to question and find. Not only did I question, I had to find my purpose as well. And once I found it in education, the question changed. Not necessarily did I question my purpose.
Mhm.
I question, how can I better this purpose? Now
Mhm.
that I'm here, how can I make this better?
Mhm.
Um how or what is now my purpose is here now. What is my new purpose? What is my new purpose to get these black and brown kids recognized and more education than I had?
Mhm.
So like I question that. I'm always trying to find out what the new purpose is.
Okay. Okay. I would piggyback on off of you. I question that, and it's okay to question that. And question your purpose and your meaning in life. I questioned that a long time ago, and I said, "Oh God, what do you want me to do? I'm getting bored with my life. I go to church and then I come home. At that time I had quit school, so I'm like, there's something that God, what you want me to do? Teach me and lead me in that direction." And he led me in this direction, and I've been doing good ever since.
Shout out to you, D. I like this whole platform. So
Yes,
shout out to you.
yes. And I this could change lives in a way that no one can be changed before.
I would agree. I'd
Yes.
agree. You
And
never
then
know who's listening.
yes. And then it's like, do you believe in that notion that your identity runs your life?
Like give me more details. Like what you trying to ask? I'm not really understanding that question. So
How oh, hold on. I have it right here. Identity. Oh, does it? Do you believe in like who you are runs you?
yeah. Um if I'm understanding that, yeah, because you gotta stand for something or fall for anything. So
Mm-hmm.
my identity is who I am as a person. And if I was to, like I was saying, if I was to go back to young Sandrea and try to live up to the family
Mm-hmm.
values, is that's not my identity. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm living someone else's life. So your identity to me is like them goals and your expectations that you should live your life by. So your identity is who you are, and this is how I'm gonna run my life. Like an example, like if my identity is I'm not a thief. I don't steal.
Mhm.
So if I presented a situation of, hey, here a lick, you can hit this and that, that's going it's going outside my norms. So that's not my life. That's
Mhm.
not the life I live.
Mhm.
Cause stealing is not in my identity.
Mhm.
So if that's how I'm understanding the question, yeah, I believe that your identity does run your life.
Here's a better. It says self identity is the way we see ourselves, and it influences the decisions we make and goals that we set for ourselves.
I'd agree. Agreed.
Yes.
I definitely would agree with that. Yeah.
How,
Like,
yeah. How
go
do you
ahead.
think? How you think others see you?
That's a good question. I always tell people I want to see myself from someone else. Like
Uh-huh.
I want to meet Sandrea. And I'm gonna be honest with you. It depends on where that other person meet me at. It depends on when, where, and how they meet me. So they could meet me like, dang, she is the goat. I see why they call her Ghost Smith.
Mhm.
Um, some could be she was really the goat, but that ain't me. So I don't know how to tell her she is, so I'ma hate on her.
Mhm.
So they could do that. Others could see me as a smart aleck. I ain't gonna lie, I do have a smart mouth.
Mhm.
But it be the smartness, it be facts, it be real. So
Mhm.
it just depends on who that person is.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I would love to see myself from someone else. I would love
Okay.
to meet Sandrea.
Okay. Okay. And then our next question that I have is: have you ever felt pressure to hear to others' definition of success?
All the time. Right before I quit the post office, my family really felt like, and I get it.
Mhm.
Um, my family, I'm gonna say it. My mother was very in my ear about it, and as a parent now, I understand because let's say the school didn't work out. Now, like I said, I'm at home. So
Mhm.
now I ain't got no job. So my mama, it did fall back on my parents. My mom and my dad had to take care of me. So I get where she was coming from. So I don't want to make it seem like she was trying to turn me from my dreams. She was
Mhm.
just like, hey, think about this. Cause I can't take care of you. I cannot pay your bills. And I had got a car with a car payment. And she was like, I got my own. So I understood. But at the time, I'm like, Mama, I'm not gonna depend on you. And then it's easy said than done.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
like the parent of it. And I'm like, it's my life.
Mhm.
And I don't want to be here. So I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me.
Mhm.
So it was pressuring because I did not want to put that on my parents, the pressure of my bills. But it was also like, who would know? If I never step out, who would know if they had to pay it or not? I don't know. And as human beings, we are afraid of the unknown. We are so afraid of the unknown. We always look at the glass half full, half empty instead of half full.
Mhm.
So that, yeah, it was pressure because it's like I don't want to put my parents in a financial bind, but who says that I would? Who says that I won't? I
Mhm.
we always say God's this, God take care of his kids and this and that. Well, here's the time to see. Let's step out on faith and see.
Mhm.
And that's what I did. And Big Dog held it down. God got my back. Like he held me down and it wasn't nothing but God that my parents never had to pay my bills from leaving. God is just that good. When I didn't see it, he already had it planned out. He was just trying to see if I was gonna step out and take it. And I did. And I'm
O-
glad I did.
Okay. I would agree with you. You have to step out, and you have to step out, and no matter what other people say, you are a chosen. person. It doesn't matter what people say. Do you think I care what a person say about me? A God that brought me this far, and he ain't gonna leave me now. I still need God. You need him 24/7, 7-Eleven, 7 times a week. It's very difficult.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
And a matter of fact, I want to tell you this. Young people start to build a picture of who they are, where they come from, and what they want, and where they are headed. Have you ever felt that way? Have,
I felt that way now. Like I said, I work in education,
mm-hmm.
and I feel like this generation's coming up has
Mm-hmm.
a they're starting way earlier than I had, and I'm glad.
Mm-hmm.
I am glad that they are. So, as my kids are doing that, I believe that I am doing that every day. And kids will help you remind you of that. So yeah, I honestly do.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think your role in the world would be?
Um, well, I wouldn't say would be. I say my role in the world
Yes, is.
um is to be me, is to be Ghost Smith. My role is to give back. Just to be real, just to be that listening ear to these kids that they parents not listening to them or the next teacher is not listening to them. One thing that we don't understand about kids, they're still human, and
Mm-hmm.
all adults is are bigger kids. Just want to be heard, and so do kids.
Yes.
So my role is just to be that ear to these people that just want to be heard, just want to be heard. Try to be the best version of me.
You brought up something. What do you say to those people that come to you for like advice on their identity?
J. Cole said it best, you gotta love yourself first. I had that song on repeat when I was learning about my identity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no one cares there's a bigger car out there that's bigger than yours. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
love yours. If you love yours, ain't nothing out there is gonna be beautiful, bigger. It doesn't matter. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
love yourself first. And the first step to accepting you is loving you. You have to block out all the noise. You gotta get in tune with yourself.
Okay, okay. And then our last question I have is, did you listen to your calling?
It took me a minute, but yeah, I believe I do. And I believe I'm still listening. Sometimes I catch myself listening to my calling and opening my mouth and sharing it with others.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get in my ear, having me not listening to my calling. And then I say the calling to come back again. And sometimes I do the same thing, to run off. So it takes me a minute to listen and be like, oh, okay, that's a calling. Because everything you listen to ain't a calling. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to listen. You got when you listen, you have to listen. Um, so not only do I listen to my callings, when I listen, I always ask God to give me proof that this is a calling.
Yeah.
Not just a calling, that is his calling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it's not his calling, I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I do. And when I do and I notice and it's be like, ooh, I don't know if this is flesh because it seems too good to be true. God, is it true? So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with you because I know you started was doing math tutoring. Is that right? Correct.
yes.
And you still do that, right?
That's fun. Okay, that's a good question. Now that you say that, I'm gonna keep it G. I don't want to do it, but I have a person on my head telling me that's my calling and I need
Mm-hmm.
to do it. So it's crazy. Now that's a good question. Is am I listening to my calling? Now when you ask that, when you put it like that, I don't know because I teach math too. So just because I'm not tutoring on the side, I'm
Uh
still
huh.
helping in math. but
Okay.
I'm not helping the kids that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's actually a good question. And I'm sometimes, because sometimes I tutor, sometimes I not. But I had to take the summer off this summer to tutor for me and myself. And that's with my identity. It's not that I don't want to. I'm just reevaluating myself. Okay, now what's my next plan? Is tutoring, is this math? Because I don't see that my end goal.
Mm-hmm.
Tutoring was the foundation of where I'm trying to go.
Okay.
So that I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know.
This is what this is about. It's the question uh, what you are doing and then get an answer. You just talk to God and get your answer. I know with with you, it's been a long journey, and you are finally at a place where you are going to be successful. And like you have a you work at Center, you're a math teacher, and then you have everything is going good because I remember you was going through he double hockey stick at your old job, like you said, and look what God did.
Hated it. Nothing but God.
Yes.
And I used to always say, this is the devil, this and that. To be honest, I believe God placed me there
Mhm.
because I had to learn and go through to get to.
Mhm.
And where I am now and what I deal with now, I don't think I would be the Sandrea I am if I did not go through that and learn
Mhm. Mhm.
how corporate America is or could be, or how people is or could be.
Mhm.
So I believe I had to go through that and learn that to be a better person for my kids.
Okay. Okay. I agree. I agree. Well, we have reached the end of our uh, podcast. If anybody's watching out there, please like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Derek Davis 6347. Uh, I accept donations, send all things to my Cash App, Derek Lamont D, um, $ Derek Lamont D. First of all, I want to thank Drea for coming on. That's what I know her as. Uh, yeah, and if you have any people that want to come on, just send them my way
Will
and just
do.
let me know. Thank
Thank
you.
you for having me.
You're welcome.
It was an honor. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Uh huh.
See ya.